Muito obrigado a todos. Bem-vindos a Idanha-a-Nova.
I wish a good Congress for all.
Warm greetings to you all. It's an honour to be able to share a few thoughts with you as you start the second Organic Districts World Congress under the theme One Health, One Planet. Such a relevant theme as we face unprecedented environmental and social challenges, and it's essential to explore innovative solutions that not only sustain but also restore and enhance our ecosystems and the fabric of our communities. Biodistricts, known in some places as ecoregions, can serve as living models of sustainability and regeneration, showcasing how integrated approaches can lead to thriving environments and resilient communities. The focus on the promotion of regenerative organic agriculture is so critical. Conventional farming methods, as you know, often deplete soil, reduce biodiversity, and contribute to climate change. In contrast, biodistricts emphasize organic farming, agroforestry, which enhance soil fertility, conserve water, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Biodistricts also have the potential to lead on advancing renewable energy. Transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy sources is crucial for mitigating climate change. Prioritizing the use of solar, wind, and bioenergy, reducing carbon footprints, and promoting energy independence can be valuable contribution of biodistricts towards a just transition. Localized energy production also strengthens community resilience, ensuring a stable and sustainable energy supply. Biodistricts offer us an example of integrated community-led resource management. Effective waste management and recycling programs, transforming waste into valuable resources, biodistricts demonstrate minimizing environmental impact and closing the loop in these cycles. Composting organic waste enriches the soil, while recycling initiatives reduce the burden on landfills and on our oceans. All this contributes to climate resilience. As climate change brings about more frequent and severe weather events, the regenerative practices within biodistricts help mitigate these impacts. Healthy soils, we all know, are critical. Diverse ecosystems likewise, and robust local food systems enhance the ability of communities to withstand and recover from climate-related disruptions. What really appeals to me about biodistricts is the people-centered approach, fostering community engagement and education, serving as hubs for knowledge exchange where best practices in sustainability are shared and implemented. Community involvement ensures the solutions are tailored to local needs and conditions, fostering ownership and responsibility, and inspiring future generations to value and protect their natural heritage. Importantly, biodistricts support local economies. Prioritising local production and consumption, these regions stimulate economic growth and create job opportunities. Farmers, artisans, and small businesses thrive in a system that values sustainability and community well-being. This economic model reduces dependency on external markets and enhances local resilience against global economic fluctuations. While the world is struggling to work out how to move away from the reductionist thinking and the approaches of science and economic development that have contributed so substantially to our current global crisis, biodistricts are incubating answers through systems approaches to environmental restoration and community development. We're starting to see food systems transformation, One Health approaches, and the deepening of the social fabric through the initiatives of biodistricts. This is critical learning for the whole planet.
Good morning. I'm truly excited to be here today, representing of the 150 members of IFOAM Organic Asia from 18 countries and regions across the Asia. IFOAM Organic Asia has been actively promoting organic district through our sister organization, the Asian Local Government for Organic Agriculture, also known as ALGOA. ALGOA is founding member of the Global Alliance of Organic District, or GAOD, which is one of the organizations of this event. ALGOA and GAOD jointly host an annual summit bringing together people from the organic movement and local government to discuss policies and best practices in organic agriculture. Our goal is to strengthen farmer income, protect biodiversity, and advocate for organic agriculture as a pathway to achieving the Sustainable Development Goal, or SDGs. We hope you enjoy the 3 days of conference, the good food, and also the wonderful hospitality of the beautiful organic district. Thank you and terima kasih.
And I am here to sincerely to welcome you all. If your time is available, you can come to our desert in the Mongolia.
最后，我再一次感谢本次会议的主办方和支持者。
In the closing, I would like to thank the organizers and all the participants once again.
欢迎大家到内蒙古来，谢谢。
I hope the conference will be a platform for sharing the experience and exchanging the ideas. And in the further, I wish the conference great success and welcome to the Inner Mongolia as well. Thank you all.
And I will ask now for the other authorities to come here and to give the speech and message. And first, one, please, the Secretary of State for Tourism for Portugal, Mr. Pedro Machado. The Administrator of the Portuguese Tourism Office, Catarina Paiva. Verónica Santillán from the Comisión Interamericana de Agricultura Orgánica. Mr. Yoshikuni Watanabe, Mayor of Kisarazu City in Japan. And Mr. Adriano de Vita, Mayor of Novi, Velia, Italy.
Em nome de Portugal, muito obrigado por terem vindo hoje a Portugal e à Idanha, um extraordinário congresso com muitas conclusões para que o turismo, para que a economia e, sobretudo, para que a comunidade possa crescer de forma mais justa. Muito obrigado.
Now, Catarina Paiva.
O município justamente foi distinguido o ano passado pela União Europeia enquanto melhor biorregião da Europa e, portanto, fazer esta iniciativa nesta região este ano faz todo sentido.
Thank you, Ms. Paiva. And now, Ms. Verónica Santillán, please.
Good morning to all the authorities and all the audience. I would like to thank you the invitation to INER, to Salvatore Basile and Pablo Ciurano, who are in touch of the Commission and give us the opportunity to be here. I'm really pleased and happy to be here representing the 19 countries which belong to the Commission. The Inter-American Agriculture Organic Commission is a technical commission constructed by the ministries of agriculture of these 19 countries that belong to the Inter-American Agriculture Cooperation Institute in America. The 19 countries go from the North America, from the United States, going through the Central American, Caribbean, and also the South American going to Argentina. So the Commission is conformed by the 19 competent authorities of control and promoting the organic agriculture. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Commission on Wednesday, but I want you to know that this Commission have the objectives to contribute the development of organic activities in the member states, also to contribute the strengthening of the institutional structure of the competent authorities, and also to coordinate and promote the development of and harmonization of the standard and procedures or regulations. So we really we share the vision to promote the organic production and also We share the vision as the biodistrict is an innovative solution, is a living model, and is a strategy to local development with the community involvement.
Thank you, Ms. Verónica. And now, Mr. Watanabe.
In March 2016, Kisarazu City declared to be an organic city. We had set it in our city's basic plan. And in September of the same year, Kisarazu had joined Al Gore as the first local government in Japan. In December, we enacted an ordinance for organic city creation to ensure that the local community works together toward sustainability of our city. Kisarazu City provides school lunch 5 days a week for about 10,000 students. It is about 1 ton of rice per day. I hope that this Congress will be meaningful and fruitful, and that the future of your town will be wonderful. Thank you. Obrigado. ありがとうございました。
And now I would like to invite Mr. Adriano de Vita, Mayor of Novi Velia, please, and Salvatore will help with the translation.
Cari amici del biologico, è per me un grande piacere essere con voi alla cerimonia di apertura di questo importante secondo congresso mondiale del biodistretti.
So, dear organic friends, it's my greatest pleasure to be with you at the opening ceremony of this important second Organic Districts World Congress.
Il programma è molto intenso e stimolante e vi auguro di lavorare tutti insieme in pace ed armonia alla costruzione di un'umanità migliore per il nostro pianeta.
The program is very intense and inspiring, and I wish everyone to work in peace and serenity to build together a better humanity for one planet.
Sono un sindaco e posso solo immaginare l'enorme sforzo che ha dovuto fare la comunità di Idanha-a-Nova per organizzare un evento grande come questo congresso. Permettetemi pertanto di ringraziare il sindaco Armindo Jacinto, attraverso lui tutti i cittadini, per aver offerto alle comunità biologiche del mondo la possibilità di riunirsi e di decidere insieme il futuro del network globale dei territori biologici.
So I am a mayor, and I imagine the enormous effort that the community of Idanha-a-Nova has done to organize an event as big as this Congress. Let me therefore thank Mayor Armindo Jacinto, and through him all the citizens for offering to the organic communities of the world the opportunity to come here and together decide on the future of the global network of organic territories.
Oltre che sindaco, sono anche il direttore sanitario di uno del più grande ospedale pubblico dell'area del biodistretto Cilento. Nella mia vita mi prendo quindi cura delle persone che vivono nella mia comunità, sia come politico che come dottore, come medico.
I am a mayor, but I am also the director of the largest public hospital in the Cilento biodistrict area. And in my life, I therefore take care of the people of my community, both as a politician and as a doctor.
Fuori programma. Voglio lasciare questo un saluto, ma un invito anche particolare a chiedere a tutti voi di non fermarvi, a chiedere a tutti voi di andare oltre, perché la cultura che si sta recuperando è una cultura strategicamente importante per affrontare tutti gli altri problemi che oggi sono sui tavoli più importanti del mondo, trasferirli su altri settori. sui settori del recupero e soprattutto della salvaguardia ambientale, sul settore delle discussioni sui tavoli di pace, perché con questo spirito, con il vostro spirito, è la strada migliore per arrivare a delle conclusioni ottimali, perché un mondo che vive in pace è un mondo che si può prendere cura di tutti gli altri problemi che affliggono l'umanità intera. Grazie.
So the mayor said we don't have to stop, we have to go on, go very fast in this direction, and not only for the agriculture, but for all the sectors, for the health of the people, finally for the future of the humanity. So thank you very much.
Grazie.
Thank you. So thank you. An applause again for all this group. And now I will ask you to take your places, take your seats in the audience. And we go on with our program. And the next activity is some ceremonies that we have, special events.
IFOAM Asia is going to sign a long-term MOA of cooperation with Shengmu. And then the second MOA is with Shengmu and the Organic Center based in the USA. So European style is that we sign together here. So can we have the, yes, IFOAM Asia will be presented by our Vice President, Emilia, and Mr. Zhang, who has spoke before, will be presenting Shengmu. I brought a special pen with the signing, but it doesn't want to work in Portugal for some reason. Okay. So what you will see later in the video is that Shengmu created a miracle in the desert. Basically, they planted about 1 billion trees. They have created a microclimate that actually it started to rain in the desert, right? And they did that through organic dairy production, right? Yes. So this is a long-term cooperation with IFOAM Organics Asia and Shengmu. And we have created something called the Deserts Drylands Organic Agriculture Network. Okay, should we, no, you take the, well, can we, right, you want to stand here? Okay. So this is the first MOU that is signed. We are doing this very Asian style. Okay, thank you, Emilia. I will ask Mr. Zhang to stay on the stage. Amber, when you come up, maybe you can give a small introduction of the Organic Center.
Hello, everyone. You will hear from me again shortly, and I'll share a little bit more at that time about the work that we do. But just for a brief introduction for the Organic Center, we are a nonprofit organization that's based in Washington, D.C., and we work very closely with the Organic Trade Association so that we can help build the market for organic. So my role as the director of the Organic Center is to facilitate research that will support the success of farmers and organic researchers, as well as communicating science to consumers so that they better understand the benefits of organic when they go to the store to shop. So we have been working a lot in building communities and networks to increase research resources and to also offer information products to minority communities by translating to different languages the information products that we have. And these are the activities that we will be working with and expanding in our partnership with Shengmu.
Okay, thank you very much. Back to you. It's that. Okay, ready for the signing ceremonies, and we go now for the next step from our program. That is the gold and inner recognitions. And for this part, I call for Salvatore and Justin, and they will do all this part. Salvatore, please.
Thank you. So, first of all, I will introduce a little bit our history, why we give these recognitions as Gaud and Dinner. 20 years ago, we started with the first organic district in Cilento, and now we have thousands and thousands organic territories in the 5 continents. But we have a special persons that in these 20 years spent a lot of time, energies, and finally we are here for the second time. This is the second World Congress for the organic districts. And I think that it is very important that we just underline the relevance of some people for the network. Of course, the first is for a very important person for the network, and is the Mayor Armindo Jacinto. He is all the time in presence during the meetings that we have in Portugal for the creation of the new organic districts, not only in Idanha, in Azores, in Alto Tâmega, everywhere. So I think that really you have the possibility, please Armindo, to give us good suggestions in which way for the future we can try to have a more strong network. So Armindo, this is for your very great effort for the development at the global level of our network. Thank you.
Not many words. Salvatore, we has a new, very interesting, because we has approved a project to build a project. It's the Biocampus Cilento. Biocampus Cilento is in Idanha-a-Nova. It's a project approved by the government of Portugal to has students. They come from the world to live in Idanha, and the idea is the name of the first biodistrict in the world, Cilento. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So it's magic all the time, surprise. It's really, I think, we can stay for 1 month here just and each day Armindo have a news for us. So we can have this campus, Cilento campus here in Idanha. After Armindo, we have another very strong person that can realize a congress and international events in 1 day. So she's a very rock star of the organic, is Jennifer Zhang. Please, Jennifer.
Just reading here. Proudly present this special recognition to Jennifer Zhang for your enthusiasm and support for creating the global network of organic district, Idanha-a-Nova, Portugal, today.
Thank you, my friend, please. So, there are persons that make a very good work all the days, in silence, that prepare, the stage for the actors. In Portugal, we have a person that was for many months in Italy for try to understand what is an organic district, in which way, the different actors can try to work together. This person is Custódio Oliveira.
Bem, é com grande orgulho e surpreendido que não estava a contar com esta distinção. Sim, faz agora 7 anos que estivemos aqui, eu e o Emílio, a dar início ao crescimento das biorregiões em Portugal. A inicial foi aqui Idanha, e Idanha sempre foi um motor que levou a que muitas mais estejam que entraram e continuam e vão querer. Depois, na quarta-feira, posso dar mais novidades do que está para aí para acontecer. Muitíssimo obrigado a tudo.
Thank you, Custódio. And when 20 years ago started this experience in the southern of Italy, in Cilento area, it was strange because finally a big energy arrived not only from the farmers, but from the civil society. And one of the persons more involved in this topic was Emilio Bonomo. So please, Emilio, he's an architect and was the president of the Cilento Biodistrict for many years. Now he's the director and is the new president of INER, of the International Network of Ecoregions.
Emilio, we are the future.
We are the future. Here we have the mayor Adriano De Vita, that is not only a mayor, as we listened before, but is the responsible of the most important hospital, the public hospital, that we have in Cilento Biodistrict. So please, Adriano. Just 2 words about the medal. Please, Justin, if you can show. This is a special medal for the 20 years that was made by an artisan in Cilento. And for that, I think, you are the best person for appreciate this present because it's in limited numbers. So thank you very much, Adriano De Vita, for your activity, for the health of the persons as politicians and as a doctor. Thank you. And now he is the scientific responsible of INER, of the International Network of Ecoregions. And we try to moderate a very complicated session, with how many speakers? 100, I don't know, in the next days. Thank you. 65, perfect. Thank you, Cesare.
Well, thank you very much. You took me by surprise. I was asleep, actually, so thank you. No. Thank you all.
But I have a surprise now, Salvatore. All of us would also like to give you a recognition. So please, Global Alliance for Organic Districts and International Network of Ecoregions proudly presents the special recognition to Salvatore Basila.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you. Giuseppe Cilento was the founder of a cooperative, organic cooperative of 420 organic farms. So the largest, one of the largest in Europe. And it takes particular care to the health of the farmers, but also of the members of the community. Introduced, for example, the radio-controlled tractor, because we have very dangerous lands, no? And the cooperative was the first to use these very innovative systems. So please, thank you. Due parole?
Thank you.
Due parole, 2 words. Thank you. Thank you very much. Grazie. Thank you very much. And there is from the mayor another medal, so please.
Yes, I have a medal for your presence in this moment in Idanha-a-Nova.
Please, Emilio, if you stay near me, because now we have we give this medal to the responsible of INER of the different area. For Africa, we have Samia Mamer. After, we have for Latin America and Serbia, Juan Pablo Shurano. Please come on, all. From the Spain, Aina Calafat Rogers. For the Eastern Europe, Peter Tot. For the Croatia, Diana Posavec. The last one is for a special person, but Emilio won't introduce.
È con particolare piacere che consegno la medaglia dei 20 anni del Biodistretto Cilento al professor Miguel Freitas.
Professore, please. So Miguel was one of the many important actors of the first Organic Congress, and this again here in this team, but this time as professor, of course.
Thank you. So, we have now finished our session of recognitions, but now we will have our photo group from the Congress. And the program is that we will do it in the stage, but we will move out to do it in front in the stairs. So I would like to invite first you that receive the recognitions and the first 2 rows that are speakers and invited authorities.
Idanha-a-Nova, enquanto município e enquanto biorregião, tem uma densidade populacional muito baixa. Nós temos 6 habitantes por quilómetro quadrado e temos na ruralidade, nas nossas atividades agrícolas ao longo da história, o nosso principal ativo. Daí que a integração na biorregião foi fundamental para nos termos numa diferenciação do nosso território. Dentro do nosso projeto, o que nos orgulha que Idanha tenha a maior área de produção biológica do país. Tenhamos um número significativo de produtores e da comunidade muito envolvida neste projeto e também o podermos captar um conjunto de centros de investigação que temos em Idanha-a-Nova que ajudam as nossas empresas a poderem conseguir bons resultados nestas estratégias. A ideia é que consigamos, em rede, a nível da nossa biorregião e em rede com as outras biorregiões da Europa e do mundo, possamos de facto conseguir melhores resultados nestas metas da descarbonização, melhores resultados com um desenvolvimento amigo do ambiente, da saúde do planeta e da nossa saúde.
Olá, eu sou Armindo Moreira Palmas Jacinto, sou o Presidente da Câmara Municipal de Idanha-a-Nova.
So, may I have on stage Salvatore? He's on stage. Gonzalo Amorin, please. Is he here? And then Amber. Amber, are you here? Thank you. Okay, then we go organic, and then we start with Salvatore on his presentation on the history of Global Alliance and the international network of ecoregions. So, Salvatore.
So, the first organic district started in Italy. We know exactly the date, no, when was held. It's the 2nd of January of 2004. INER, the international network of ecoregions, started 10 years later, the 14th of December of 2014. GAUD. So, GAUD started the 6th of February 2020 with the signature of the agreement at the Italian Ministry of Agriculture in Rome, in Italy. But this creation started a little bit early. In 2019, Jennifer and other friends from Korea decided to invite us, the Europeans, but from other continents too, in this meeting of ALGOA, plus 4 international summits on organic farming. And the idea of starting with the organic districts and with the global alliance of the organic districts finally was born. In that place, in Goesan County, in South Korea. And we left the summit with a promise to build a strong global alliance as soon as possible. And of course, the promise was realized. In 5 months, the Global Alliance for the Organic Districts was established. And from the 20th of September to the 6th of February of the next year. In 2020, after we started with the summits are very, very important because in the Organic District Summits, we have the involvement of the politicians, of the public, that together with the private and other actors of the organic districts can decide at the global level. And why this is important? Because in the Congress, we have to take more strategic decisions. But finally, the politicians, the people that have the power, as I said, to change the things, have to take the floor and have to start with the concrete actions. And for that, I thank you very much, Jennifer, all the friends from Asia, because after the signature of this very important memorandum of understanding in Rome, in a very short time, and we were in the COVID pandemic period, so everything was not easy to do. But we started with the online meetings, so the famous Zoom, and that for 2 years we made in a very intensive way. And we had the first GAUD summit in October 2020, the second in 2021 in presence, but also online in Goesan County. In 2022, the third GAUD summit, and we started with the elaboration of the Organic 3.0 Local Governance Declaration. After we can see why this declaration is important for the future now of the organic districts. And the summit was in July 2022. So, Professor Cilento, you are here in the middle of this picture because in the closing ceremony of the 2022 IFOAM Goesan International Organic Expo was signed the Organic 3.0 Local Governance Declaration. Inside this declaration, you have 10 very important points. No? The public have to start, for example, with the green public procurement for the organic public canteens, school canteens, or in the hospital, and so on. Just an example. I have to finish, so I don't read all, but you can find all this document on our website, of course. Finally, the last year in June 2023 was held the 4th GAUD and ALGOA summit in Kauswagan in the Philippines. We signed as INER an agreement with the Mayor Rommel Arnado to manifest the organic districts in Asia. And I hope that in Taiwan, because this is a pre-event of the Organic Congress of the Organic by IFOAM that will be held in Taiwan in November and December, so in this year. And I think that in 1 year, but I think less too, we can have more organic districts in Taiwan too, for example. But I see Tachun, Meg, and other friends that are working on this topic. The common goal is that to support many territorial organic experiences in the 5 continents to become organic districts in order to create the critical mass necessary to make the global change possible, as Josten said. This is a very important concept that we try to develop in concrete way in these 4 years after the constitution of GAUT. The organic districts in the world. So you can find the updated map online on the website. Here we have only a picture, but from this picture you don't see nothing, so sorry. We have 1,000 and 1,000 organic territories in the world, and our approach is that to give common guidelines, for example, but of course each organic district is different by each other. So the biodiversity of the organic districts for us is very important. The food sovereignty of the local communities is very, very important. Go back. We started in 2004, the first organic district. 2014, the international network. 2000 and from 22 to 24, we realized really the global movement. And now, for the future, for the next 5 years, this is what we have to decide in this Congress. During this Congress, we have to decide the global strategy for the development of the organic districts to be adopted over the next 5 years. This is not a conference, not an international conference. This is a Congress, and we have to take decision. After each session, we have a moment of discussion where we can try to put together all the different elements by the different speakers. Not all the speakers are involved in the organic districts, because inside the organic districts you have many and many aspects, no? The health of the soil, the health of the water, the health of the persons, and so on. One planet, one health, finally, is the title of this Congress. So we need now to work on this topic, but of course we have to work together with the positive energy for one planet, one humanity, I add, and of course, one health. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Salvatore. So we have the next speaker now. Please, Gonzalo Amorin, it's yours. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Maybe I will address in English, as my slides are in Portuguese, most of them at least. So my name is Gonçalo Amorim. I'm the founder and CEO of BGI, and I will introduce some of the activities that we are developing in Idanha, and starting with a not-for-profit organization called Food for Sustainability that we set up a few years back. I'll tell you this story, and hopefully also looking at the future, some of the projects that we are looking forward to develop. So Food for Sustainability is a nationally recognized collaborative laboratory. We have our headquarters here in Idanha, in CMCD, just next doors, if you want to visit over the next days. We have over 30 researchers working on food, production of sustainable intensification of food production, and very much into the core of what we do is the soil. So as I mentioned, we are over 30 researchers headquartered here in the municipality, and I want to tell you a bit more the story. How did this all started with the concept? So this was a challenge that was posed to me by Armindo and a few other colleagues. What could we do to revitalize this region? How could we take the energy and the tradition and ally it to some innovation and bring new actors, technologies to solve prevalent problems? And this was our concept, coming from a mechanical engineer, coming from MIT Portugal, a program which is about deep tech, transformation and unicorns. What could we do? And the first idea that we came up with was, let's focus on the nutrient cycling, and let's focus on closing all the waste streams and valorizing these waste streams as feeds and other downstream products. So this was the first conceptual idea for what we are doing today. And then we realized that very quickly this was too complex, and we had to accelerate this process and start by breaking it down into different pieces. So the first piece was an accelerator, Idanha Food Lab, that we run for 3 years until 2020. The pandemic came, and we put it into a pause. But then we inaugurated Food for Sustainability with this vision of transforming our food systems. Eventually, we understood that food was increasing, that the energy prices, the crisis that came during COVID was a transformative, let's say, catalyst for our work. And we realized that pesticides and the increase of the inputs used in agriculture were increasing. And we saw this as an opportunity for us. How? We have some in the room, some of the experts that have been working in biodynamic agriculture, organic agriculture, but then eventually we realized that what we need to do was leverage all these efforts and focus on regenerative agriculture. How? Looking at, of course, practices and pilots, and what we see is that somehow we need to transform the intensification processes into something which is regenerative, focused on the soil. So I have some slides on the food web, and it's a very complex relationship. We'll not have time to describe it here, but in a basic form, we have some biologic properties, some physical properties, and chemical properties. And of course, when we look at soils, we look at a living organism, and we need to take care of it as we take care of our own bodies, because in fact we are what we eat, of course, and what we need is to feed also this microbiome of many different organisms. So what traditional agriculture has been doing is removing a lot of these blocks. What we are trying to introduce is the mechanisms that kickstart all of these relations, and of course this having, let's say, nature working for us is what we want. So what we are talking about is microbiome and microbiota of the soil, which is very complex organisms that work together. And the metabolic rate of these organisms is very much connected to the water, to the temperature, to the conditions in which they live. And this is what we're trying to understand. How? Of course, through all the cycles of nutrients that we are analyzing beyond physical-chemical characteristics. So we set up this lab, a lab that is doing genetic sequencing of soil and also other microorganisms like fungi. And what we are now developing is this very interesting open data relationship between what microbes are involved in what functions of the soil. So when we analyze a certain, let's say, farmer, property, crop, we try to understand what chemicals are there, what are not there, and what microorganisms should be there in transforming these bioavailable nutrients into the plants. And sometimes what we find is that some of the relations, I will tell you a bit more about in a few minutes, is very interesting. Sometimes it's not the lack of the nutrients, it's the lack of the microbes that are involved in the, let's say, absorption of these bioavailability of these chemicals. So database now establishes, let's say, a positive or negative relation of each of the microorganisms with the functions of the soil, and of course the effect of these microorganisms together. It was done over, this is an example of how it looks like. It's a database that can be searched, and when we have relations with the gene, then we can establish whether it has a positive or a pathogenic negative impact. In this case, for melon, watermelon, cuckoo's melon, which was analyzed. And of course, then we look at what's there, what's not there, and then we can improve and inoculate through vermicomposting and other. We can inoculate the soil, and eventually these bacteria will propagate, of course, in the right conditions, temperature, water, and so on, and then it will thrive. So we want to have nature working for us. So where we are today, this slide is already out of date, because every month we are adding about 1,000 entries to this database, and now we are trying to make it a semantic AI machine so that humans can curate the data but not generate the inputs which can be replaced by machines and accelerate this process. So this database was done on an open process, so we scouted for all the papers, published peer-reviewed papers out there, and extracted these relationships from these papers. So how do we do this in terms of soil monitoring and soil health? It's a simple process. We collect samples, and then, of course, it's DNA is amplified in the lab, and then we use two protocols, 16S for bacteria, and then ITS for fungi. This is large libraries that have been developed. The interesting part is that these technologies that we are using maybe 10, 20 years ago would cost millions of euros. Now we are talking about very ubiquitous, very accessible. We provide analysis at cost at around 131 euros or 140 euros, around that amount. And the amount of information we can get from this DNA, of course, is very interesting. I bring you some concrete examples of these samples that we are monitoring around Europe. Now we have done or are doing about 500 samples at the moment from this last year. And the interesting part is that we are really trying to pinpoint the aspects that need to be improved and the diseases in the soil. And the interesting part is that there's well, the challenging part is that there are many diseases out there that are propagating very fast. And the interesting part is that we can somehow remediate or really solve the problem. In this case, we quantified the microbiota in the vineyard. We extracted, of course, the DNA from the lab, and we tried to map out distribution, looking at quality of the soil, the structure, this health, and we found, of course, not all bacteria is good. Some of the bacteria is bad, and the question is having more good bacteria that feeds on the bad bacteria, and that's hopefully what is on also in our guts today, and that's what the relationship that is being found with also our brains. So the important part is, of course, to map out the bad, let's say, culprits, the bacteria that are there that should not be there, and then introduce more life, introduce more biodiversity. In this case, we found that, of course, we look at macro and micronutrients also in the soil, and then the microorganisms that work and feed on these elements. In this case, we found that there was some diseases. We found that Petri disease, which is like a cancer that destroys the lignin and the distribution of the water in the plants is compromised, and then, of course, the plant just dries and dies. There's no cure. You can only control the advance of the disease, a bit like a cancer, a very strong cancer that's prevailing in vineyards. And of course, what the recommendation from our researchers was okay. We found this disease, it's onset, and we need to cure before it spreads to other plants. You can see what it looks like from the interior of the plant. And then the recommendation was, in this case, to apply trichoderma to control the advance. And of course, this is the important part for the farmer. Is not all the science behind it. Is what should I do? Once I have disease, how should I cure it? And this is exactly what we are trying to do, is very concrete, actionable advice that can cure or, in some cases, mitigate the advance. In this case, it was very interesting because you will see here in the picture I'll just focus on this red dot there. This is the comparison of chemical physical analysis with the bacteria that are present in metabolizing these chemicals. So the chemicals are in the soil, the carbon is in the soil, but the plant is not absorbing it. Why? Because the organisms that should be there are not or were not there. So that's why we introduced this trichoderma, and we now are measuring the onset and the evolution. Now, focusing a bit more about, as I think I still have a few minutes, on other activities. So this is what the researchers are doing, which is a fantastic database, a fantastic, let's say, remediation technologies for the farmers. But we also need to publish, and we need to disseminate this knowledge. Co-labs are not about, let's say, creating science. They are about applying science into real-world products with, and solutions and services with impact. And this week we are developing, it's ongoing in Peña Garcia. One of the ways to disseminate this knowledge is through summer schools that are sponsored by EIT Foods. And with these speakers and tours around the different farms, we provide the opportunity for the students to really go in situ and check what's being done in terms of regenerative practices, which is, of course, a principle of farming, but very complex because each farm is a system with animals, no animals, different crops, different conditions, different types of soils. So each farm is a really complex mix of many variables. So this school happens in Peña Garcia every year. It's an international school. That is sponsored by us and also BGI, Food for Sustainability, and the municipality, of course, and where students come and they really have this immersive experience. There's an online component and an offline component, so this is providing also big impact in the region. And finally, I also want to look at some other digitization opportunities that we are looking at. These digital maps, GIS, Geographical Information Systems, of the farms. So we are digitizing with physical-chemical but also microbiological data. We are providing farmers with this digital data on a longitudinal basis so that they can see what impact, positive or negative, their farming practices are. And this is done through Smart Foods and Trade, this digital innovation, European Digital Innovation Hub, which is going to be also inaugurated this week. We still have a date to firm, but either Thursday or Friday in Várzea, we will set up the first people, office that will work from Idanha to the world. It's an international project, European co-funded, 6 million euros to impact over 300 farmers. And finally, this is a bit of a controversial slide, I will warn you, but we are also working on the microbiome in water. We launched this year with research-based from Wageningen. We launched an experiment in Nazaré for soilless farming, and we are finding that we can control life started by, in fact, in water, and we can control the growth and improve the growth of different vegetables using different bacteria in the water for preservation of course, of the microbiome. This is an example of what we are doing, and now looking forward, what we are working with the municipalities to develop some systems, soilless systems, which are circular in Ribeira do Freixo, in a property that is now in the hands of the mayor for long-term impact. And what we want to develop is a 100-hectare circular with biogas and all of feed streams valorization. Thank you very much. I'll be here all day if there's any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This was great. And I think I would like to comment just for a second or two. Thank you for pointing out, opening the black box, which is the soil. We look at biodiversity here and there, but the biodiversity is really in its number in the soil. That has been a black box to now. And also thank you for pointing out the relation between the biome in the soil and in our guts. Because this is very important that we understand that there is a correspondence between what we eat how we produce it. And if you utilize mineral fertilizer, herbicide, and pesticide to the soil, this is kind of war against nature. And if we eat that, it's not good for us. So here we have, I much appreciate your work here and what is done here in Idanha-a-Nova now. We should take it with us. And we should also remember, the more we research, the more we don't know, the more respect we get. Thank you so much. And then Amber.
Okay, so I am Dr. Amber Siligo. I am the Director of Science Programs at the Organic Center. I told you earlier when I was on the stage that I would be sharing more about what we do as an organization. Just push down. Enter. Okay. I'll do my best. But I actually lied to you. Normally when I'm on the stage, I'm sharing information about the organic market in the US, or I'm talking about some of the research that we're involved in. We are involved in 11 different major projects right now, worth about $35 million US for all of those projects combined. But I won't be talking too much about that today. Instead, I have been invited here to talk more about some of the work that has come out of a recent collaboration in China that occurred in 2023, and to talk a little bit more about organic and drylands areas and deserts as well, and introduce to you the Drylands Organic Agriculture Network, and even further, the Research Initiative platform. But first, I wanted to say a little bit about myself and who I am, where I'm from. So I don't live in Washington, D.C. Our headquarters is in D.C. I currently reside in Kentucky, which is a little bit like the South and a little bit like the North in the U.S. But I was born and raised in the Central Valley of California, which has a very Mediterranean climate. I was born up north in Northern California, and my family grew almonds. We had an almond orchard. I'm from a very small town. We had under 650 people. So I understand some of the many opportunities that exist when you live in small communities that are rural, and some of the challenges that exist. And I left that area 25 years ago. And when I was driving from Madrid to Portugal yesterday, I saw it was like I was driving home. I mean, even the same flat mountains that I saw, we had the same trees, figs, olives, almonds. It was really incredible. So I thank you so much for inviting me here and allowing me to see some of my own home all the way on this side of the world, which has just been delightful. Okay. So I'm going to talk about 5 major points in this presentation today. I want to start by talking a little bit more about climate change. I know we talk about it a lot, but we can't escape it. And how organic agriculture can fit into that. And that has a lot to do with the soil, which we have just heard, the value of the soil, the importance of healthy soil. And then I will talk about how organic practices help build that soil health and resilience to climate change, and show an example that was very shocking and amazing and inspiring to see when we visited the Shengmu organic milk dairy farm in the Ulambu Desert in Inner Mongolia. But we know that there are lots of other examples, and we would like to hear more from other people and their successes and challenges and bring people together. And that is the purpose of the Dryland Organic Ag Network and the International Research Platform, which is doing some of the work that I mentioned when we signed that MOA this morning. So first I'll start with climate change. You know, it's funny because I feel like we used to, not so long ago, talk about climate change is coming, right? And now we're in it, and it's almost like we're in denial that we're in it. At least in the US, it's all the news, this major disaster and that major disaster, and not even putting it together that we are in climate change right now. These are the consequences that we've been talking about for years, and we're experiencing it. In my hometown, just last week, actually, a wildfire was started. The area that I grew up in, we've always had floods, we've always had droughts, and we've always had fires as a fire-adapted ecology. But the fires have gotten more frequent and more intense. And this fire that started last week, in just 2 days, became the largest fire in California this year, and the 7th largest on record in recorded history for the state. This is the second major fire event that has been quite traumatic for my community. And we're seeing this happen all over the place, and because there are more people in the world, more lives are impacted by this. It's not just something that's happening in the forest anymore, right? So we're feeling these extreme weather events, whether it's fire or flood or hurricanes. The earth feels angry right now, and we're getting a lot of changes. Dry regions are getting drier. Some wet regions are getting wetter. Some are switching entirely from dry to wet, which really throws a loop for farmers who have traditionally farmed in a certain way for multiple generations. And so they have to be innovative and they have to be adaptive to cope. And organic management is one way that they can cope. And the reason for that is because not only do we know, with lots of science behind it, that organic management can help mitigate climate change and slow it down. We're kind of beyond that in the current moment, it feels. But organic management, when you have healthy soils, builds resilience. So when those extreme events happen, the farms and the fields will bounce back more quickly. They'll still experience the floods and the droughts, but they won't. But they'll come back more quickly. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about healthy soil because we just heard a great presentation that discussed all of these properties. But some of the key functions that we gain from healthy soil are optimal nutrition, the nutrient availability that exists because we have the right balance of vitamins, minerals, and microbiomes. When we have healthy soil, we have natural disease protection, again, as we just heard. Healthy soils help prevent some of the impacts of drought and flood, and help prevent that soil from moving either from wind or from water. And we're capturing soil in the ground to help carbon sequestration, which mitigates climate change. And some of the physical health indicators of healthy soil are aggregate stability, so that's being able to hold that soil together so that it doesn't go anywhere with the rain and the wind. Water holding capacity, so the soil will act more like a sponge. It'll bring that water in and it will hold onto it. This is extremely important in drought susceptible areas. Also, we have infiltration and porosity. That water will go into the soil instead of running off and creating a river where it doesn't belong, which helps again with erosion during flood. We have an organization in the US called the NRCS, the National Resource Conservation Service, and they do this fantastic demonstration. I wish I could bring them with me everywhere, where they show the properties of healthy soil versus non-healthy soil. This is just a nice little pictorial description. So you can see here there's life in the soil on the left. We have roots, you can see moisture. The soil on the right looks ancient and lifeless. The soil on the left has all of those properties that I just mentioned. And this demonstration is quite incredible. I saw this 2 weeks ago at a farm demonstration in Nebraska, and they had pulled soil from a conventional corn and soy operation and an organic conventional soy and corn operation. This is not that soil, but it basically looked like this in the demonstration. And instantaneously, as soon as that soil hit the water in that basket, it just started to break up. Within the 10 minutes of that demonstration, it was completely dissolved, and the one on the left was still intact. They did another demonstration too that showed that the water with soil on the right completely ran off and never absorbed when it was given the opportunity. So again, tying this back to drylands and drought susceptible areas, it's really critical that we have soil that has the right properties to bring that water in when it comes and hold on to it. And some of those properties include soil organic matter and soil organic carbon, which we know a lot of organic practices will increase. And we don't need a huge increase. There's some science that shows that organic matter increasing by 1% in the soil can help retain an extra 20,000 gallons of water per acre. I was just talking to this corn and soy farmer the other day in Nebraska. He has an organic field. He's been managing organically for 50 years. He said they had a massive flood 2 weeks ago, and he had 4 inches of water that covered his field. Within hours, it was gone. It was soaked in, and it was held onto. His neighbors, it looked like new rivers had formed straight through their fields and wiped out the corn. It helps. So some of the practices that that organic farmers use as part of their main principles are those that improve soil health. In fact, that's the central tenet. And in the National Organic Program, that's one of the first regulations that farmers have to follow. They must maintain the natural resources that will protect and build soil health. So some of these practices include maximizing the presence of living roots, not leaving bare soil, minimizing disturbance. This means physical and chemical. So extreme tillage, but also if you're using herbicides in place of tillage, that will increase disturbance and destroy the life in the soil. You want to keep that soil covered and maximize biodiversity. It looks like my graphs aren't here, but that's okay. Basically, we did a literature review to look at practices within the organic system, not comparing organic to conventional, but within the organic system. We did a literature review and found that there were 4 major practices that emerged as the most influential on soil health, and that was the use of cover crops, the use of organic soil amendments like manure, increasing the crop rotation diversity and length, and reducing tillage, using conservation tillage practices. So I love this photograph. Sometimes I use it to be provocative. Today, mostly, it's just a demonstration to show what can happen when we're using all the best practices in the right ways, okay? So in an ideal situation, when we have optimal biodiversity and soil health, we can see a living, thriving system on the right, and we can see, you can imagine that's either a storm that this farm will weather, or it's a storm that has been created because desertification has been reversed. You can be creative and think about it whichever way you like. And just as poor practices can turn an oasis into a desert, best practices can turn desert into an oasis. So I just wanted to show, I know you're standing here to tell me to get off the stage, but I'm going to tell you that I have a couple videos that I want to show that are very short. Okay. So like I said, I visited Shengmu Organic Milk in China, and I'm going to show you an example of how we can turn desert into an oasis in an organic farm. And like I said, there are other examples that are out there that we would love to learn more about. But in September 2023, the first international conference on organic agriculture in deserts and drylands was held, hosted by Shengmu and the local government. This is a fun excursion we went on. And let me see, I hope this works for you all. Nope. Oh, I lied again. We are not seeing my video. But don't worry, there will be a video that follows this presentation that will show you. But my point is, you can see here, this is real desert, like real desert. This is more desert than I've ever seen in my life. And it was transformed into an organic farm. It took 12 years to do. Here's a bird's eye view that shows some of the practices that Shengmu has used to build that soil from sand. which the key was animal integration, the use of animal manure. Planting trees has been extremely important. This can not only store carbon, but it can help reduce that wind erosion and keep the soil there as it's building. And they've been able to transform 23,300 acres of desert into pasture land. And the most amazing thing is that it is raining again. So the beginning of this network was at this event, and I have a couple slides with photos of this just to show the power of bringing people together from various places and having shared experience so that we can connect on a human level as well as an intellectual level. And this event, we had conference sessions, we had a farm visit, and we had some excursions that brought us all together, and honestly was one of the most formative experiences in my life. From that, I've been able to build lots of lasting friendships and collaborations. And this, and I'm almost done, I promise, and this, this is where there's so much opportunity in these international collaborations. We can identify the resources that we all have. You might have different resources than I have. Let's put them together. Or maybe you're doing something I was planning on doing. So I'm going to skip that. I'm going to save my resources, and I'm going to work with you and learn from you instead. So we can fill knowledge gaps through that knowledge sharing. And I would also argue that in today's world, increasing diplomacy by, again, connecting as human beings no matter where we're from is very critical right now. And the organic movement has that potential because we care about organic and just living a full life. So finally, this brings us to the International Research Platform for DONE. So again, we are going to continue this DONE network and invite anybody who comes from a drylands area or beyond to participate in the knowledge sharing, the resource sharing, and we're particularly interested in those who are coming from younger generations, although older is good too, because we need some mentorship and some historic knowledge. So, in conclusion, we know that healthy soils will improve nutrient availability and cycling and improve all the qualities that we need to be resilient against climate change. Organic management does improve soil health, and it does make us more resilient. And we need to connect with leaders in the movement who are doing this well so that we can learn from them and be inspired. And we hope to do that with this DONE International Research Platform to continue this knowledge exchange and collaboration. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Amber. And thank you for the invitation again to make the cooperation between GAWAD and DONE. I think this is what we have to do. We have to do it now because the time is of essence. So now, thank you again. Now we have a film. Could we have the sound people?
This is the demonstration of Shengmu.
This is Ulan Buha, full of surprises. Here are high mountains, rivers, forests, oases, lakes, grasslands, and deserts. This is a place giving birth to a multitude of heroes, as well as a miraculous area where multiple ethnic groups fuse with each other, nurture culture, and develop civilization. Over the long course of history, profound and brilliant Hetao culture has been accumulated through the Vistitudes. Thousands of years ago, it was the borderland Jiawang commandery for stationing and reclamation, where herds of cattle and horses roamed on the grasslands and the people thrived. Now, it is a single-head artesian diversion irrigation area with the intertwined canal network showing the magnificence and tenderness of nature. The canal network meandering across the Hertau area is the collective wisdom of the people who have been adapting to nature for thousands of years, as well as the fruit of passion in pursuit of a better life. Now the glorious ecological symbol of China's Shengmu is added to this answer sheet full of wisdom and diligence. China's Shengmu effectively utilizes the overflow water of the Yellow River, lakes and wetlands during the periods of ice floods for ecological water replenishment, to provide sufficient water supply for the farms and pastures built in the hinterland of the Ulaanbaatar Desert. Hundreds of millions of samophytic trees have grown up to effectively maintain soil and water, improve the microclimate of the area, and bring about the continuous enrichment of the biodiversity. On the Neilwen Lake and the Dongxian Lake and in the Haikantauhai National Treasure Reserve, Eurasian spoonbills unfold their wings and fly freely, and beautiful mute swans swim quietly in pairs. There are verdant reeds by riverbanks, lush green pastures, as well as the early evergreen canopies of Mongolian Scots pines firmly guard small, soft, corset foxes, long-eared hedgehogs like white doe, and seemingly cute marble polecats. Following the law of nature, nurture all living things. Prioritizing ecological conservation and pursuing green development, we are applying the development patterns of ecological agriculture, circular agriculture, water-saving agriculture, regenerative agriculture, and organic agriculture in practice, and have made this desert oasis the warmest home of nearly 110,000 cows with organic certification of both EU and China through continuous ecological transformation. The round organic pastures resemble emerald floral patterns embroidered on the Ulaanbaatar Desert as pure and dense as golden gauze. This is a green miracle jointly created by technology and perseverance. The meadows produce unpolluted, high-quality feed crops such as alfalfa and highland oats. And the desert prevents pollutant sources, diseases and epidemics, forming a natural protection belt for the health of cows, which bathe freely in the sand to gain smooth and shiny fur. With barns warm throughout the year and sunny pastures, this is a recognized golden belt of milk, sources at 40 degrees north latitude. By implementing the product strategy of organic original functions, animal welfare, and low and zero carbon emissions, we improve the threshold of industrial competition. In this desert, as shimmering as a galaxy, China's Shengmu has realized the traceability and control of every drop of organic milk produced in the whole life cycle. In recent years, we have created full coverage and penetration of the whole chain and all scenarios of organic milk through a digital technology and resource system. With SAP ERP as the core, we deeply apply cloud platforms, SAP systems, RPA robots, Internet of Things, big data, and other technological application systems to connect isolated data islands, integrate industrial chains for rapid and coordinated development, promote the combination of agriculture and husbandry, and achieve sustainable development. China's Shengmu has explored a model of living in harmony with the desert that is adapting to nature and continuously improving the environment. The desert abounds with land, solar energy, wind energy, and ecological resources, which are basic resources for the development of distinctive organic industries. Under the guidance of the principle that lucid waters and lush mountains are invaluable assets, China's Shengmu adheres to the industrialization of the ecology and ecological development of the industry and vigorously promotes industry-based control of desertification to gradually form an ecological industrial system integrating industry-based control of desertification and the development of agriculture and husbandry. Following the principle of planting trees or grass based on natural conditions, China's Shengmu has planted nearly 100 million samophytic trees here, transformed 27,000 hectares of desert into excellent pasture, paved 193.3 kilometers of highway through the desert, erected 277.9 kilometers of power lines, guaranteed electricity and water supplies, and developed logistics to turn 23,000 hectares of sandy land into an oasis under the lead of China Shengmu. Neighbouring farmers live a prosperous life due to the industry and become rich by planting nearly 27,000 hectares of feed crops and fodder, with an increased income of £450 million in total. Adhering to the harmonious coexistence of man and nature, China Shengmu promotes the carbon-neutral transformation of animal husbandry in the model of the circular economy for desert areas to realise the cumulative carbon sequestration of 1.38 million tonnes while creating the world's largest organic milk production base in the desert, and become a world-class model of the new natural economic business pattern for the core purpose of benefiting nature. With great courage, tremendous efforts and relentless dedication to the dairy industry, China Shengmu has been working on building the desert into an oasis bank and guarding the sustainability of nature, the industry and the business in the future with the power of business for good. In the Yinshan Mountains and the Hilen Mountains, on both sides of the Yellow River, running for millions of years, there have been countless heroic epic which has been distilled into a kind of spirit in the Hetao area, and the new heroic legends in the future are being written in the long-standing, brilliant Hetao culture. As a leading enterprise of the dairy industry representing the Denkao model for the industry-based control of desertification, China Shengmu will make all efforts to develop the model of sustainable development and provide Shengmu's solution to the protection of natural climate and the promotion of rural revitalization. This is long-term efforts and persistent dedication and a unique report of Shengmu's experience. We will uphold the new development philosophy of cooperation, youth, opening, reform, sustainability and joint development to build a beautiful China and leave a beautiful Ulaanbaatar with everything prosperous for future generations. We firmly believe that China Shengmu will be better day by day. Welcome to Ulaanbaatar.
So I think you'll see from the screen that this session is also a session on Day1, the Deserts, Drylands, Organic Agriculture Network session, right? The Asians in many ways are quite hopeless people because we are people who are very hospitable and we know how to express our thanks, right? And got something for Mayor Jacinto. Mayor, please. Yes, And Salvatore as well, my brother. And before I start, I would really ask you to give a very big applause to Mr. Zhang from Shengmu. He came all the way from China to come to this conference. Mr. Zhang, he's the person behind the miracle. And we have Amber, who was there with me last year, and we also have Juan Pablo. He was there in person at the desert. And you have to visit there one day. It's like an amazing experience. Amber said that it was really formative for her. I visited twice before we held the conference, right? And it was like amazing. So we wanted to bring you that story to show that miracles can happen, and this is how we protect water and how we use organic agriculture, farming practices to actually preserve our nature, right? And the present here is from our China office in we have a China office, IFOAM Asia, and this is quite special. Thank you. Li Feng, my China office director, says that, Mayor, you have to put hot water into the cups, okay? Because what it does is that it's going to change color. I've not actually seen it. So there's a cup here. So please drink your coffee here or your tea, if you prefer tea. And the painting, it's supposed to be a very famous painting. I wanted Li Feng on stage, but he said, no, Jennifer, you do it, So it will change color, he says, right? Okay. So this is for you from IFOAM Asia. And yes, and that's the box for you as well. And right, I put everything back. And Mr. Zhang, you give this to Salvatore, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, so please. And then we also have, in IFOAM, we work with different sectors, right? We work with local governments under the Asian, local governments for organic agriculture. It's a network of local governments, of which Mayor Watanabe is one of our most loyal members, and is also a founding member. But we also have something, we have the Youth Forum, Organic Youth Forum. The Youth Forum was actually a spontaneous form. We did some training for young people, and then they came up to me, I think it was the day before the training ended, and said, we were so inspired by getting training on organic agriculture, what can we do? And I said, well, you are young, you're the organic youth, and they started something called the Organic Youth Forum. So actually my China director is the person who started, he was part of our training, now he's my director in China. And Miyoshi, she's a World Board member for IFOAM Organics International. And now that generation is like 40. They said, oh, we have to give it to younger people. So, Lanu, will you come on stage? I love working with these young people. Lanu is from India. You look at how he's dressed. And he also wants to give something to the mayor. Lanu, you can explain that, I think.
Should I? So this is a warrior shawl from Nagaland. So we are actually okay. So we are actually a head hunting warrior tribe, and this is a warrior shawl. So I wanted to give it to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us here.
So the Asian Organic Youth Forum decided, to go international. So we have something called the Young Organics Global Network, of which Lanu is the co-chair. And I think our Taiwanese friends had something, they sort of whispered to me. So yes, Mag is working as the executive director of the Association of Indigenous Peoples Development of Taiwan. And she's accompanied by Snow. Her English, I think that's her translation of her name. Snow, who is also belonging to one of the indigenous peoples in Taiwan, and she's also a government officer.
We are come from Taiwan. I'm Meg. Just like Jennifer mentioned, I work with indigenous peoples for, over 20 years. Now, his name is Braluyang, and is from Taidong County, the eastern side of Taiwan. If you see the news, actually, the typhoon hit Taiwan recently. So after to recover the disaster, and he can come with us to participate in this event. And he is the indigenous county in Taidong, and we hope can push the head to the county to become the organic district. So that's why I invite him to participate in this conference. And Dabalai is also come from Taidong, and she is my organization's board member, and she also wants to push her indigenous tribe to become organic district. So that's why I invite two of them to participate in this event. And we bring some special gift. Want to thank the organizer and the hoster can let us to come to here to know how to organize the organic district. And the first one is come from Taidong, the tester from the forest. And I have to say the Dalumak is belong Lukai people. It's very beautiful. You see her clothes is very traditional clothes. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, and the next one. Yeah. And next one is. This next one is come from Taiwan, and actually in outside we have an exhibition to want to show the Taiwan tea culture to you. So maybe later you can to test. Okay, thank you so much.
So Mayor, you can drink the Taiwan tea in a Chinese cup. Very, very good strategy. the most loyal ALGOA member. He was, the founding member of ALGOA. And Mayor Watanabe would like to give something very special to the mayor.
From his message, we explain our project of the school meal. So we grow the organic rice for school meal for the kids. And this is also from Japan. It's organic sake. So we're fermentation culture, food culture. As a microbe, we live with microbes. And thank you. And also for Salvatore.
And these are my two favorite mayors, because Mayor Watanabe and Mayor Jacinto, they read the declaration, the Organic 3.0 Local Governance Declaration at the International Organic Expo in South Korea in 2020. Thank you.